On January 18th, TikTok users across the country opened the app to a shocking message. The platform was unavailable. A nationwide ban was set to take effect the next day, but many people doubted that it would actually happen. Then President Joe Biden had publicly said he wouldn't enforce the law on his last day in office, so when the app went dark anyway, millions mourned the early shutdown. For about 14 hours, TikTok remained offline until service was suddenly restored the next morning. A message on the homepage credited President Trump for its return. Through an executive order, Trump granted the company a 75-day extension to comply with the federal law and sell TikTok to a non-Chinese owner. For those following the case, this ban has been a long time coming. John Wibby, an associate professor of media innovation and technology at Northeastern University in Boston, breaks down the scrutiny.
There was overwhelming bipartisan support for forcing TikTok, which is owned by the parent company ByteDance, headquartered in China, to divest its ownership control to an American group of investors or to a single investor. But ByteDance, the company, and perhaps the Chinese Communist Party saw fit that they didn't want to do that. So there's currently a standoff. The Trump administration, which has wide discretion on how to enforce laws, has paused on that particular ban, but it's still a duly passed law in the United States and will have to be dealt with in some way, shape, or form by the Justice Department and the administration.
Wibby says politicians on both sides of the aisle share concerns about China's influence and access to the American public and their data through the app. After all, about a third of all U.S. adults are on TikTok, according to a 2024 survey conducted by Pew Research Center. This number jumps higher in younger users. Close to 60% of young people under the age of 30 are on TikTok. With so many Americans on the app, the government fears it could be used as a tool for the Chinese Communist Party.
This actually started with President Trump in the first term, where there became a lot of concern about China's rise, particularly its tech sector, and this kind of comparatively unfair advantage that China has insofar as it can put apps in our market, social media apps and other kinds of apps, whereas the likes of Google and Facebook are banned in China. There are also concerns because of the growth of TikTok. It has about 170 million users, that's the estimate in the United States, that it has a great deal of potential surveillance capacity. It vacuums up a lot of data. It also serves up content through algorithms, and there are, have been many questions raised about whether those algorithms in effect promote anti-American values. And I think if there's one thing right now that can unite Democrats and Republicans in Washington, it's concern and anxiety over China and China's rise.
Regardless if these fears are valid or not, the U.S. ban would be catastrophic for TikTok's Chinese owner, ByteDance. It would lose billions of dollars and a third of its overall user base. So why doesn't ByteDance just sell the app to a U.S. company and put an end to this threat? Wibby says it's not the app that's the focus. It's the algorithm.
The TikTok algorithm is a real marvel. I mean, it has been at the cutting edge of social media. It has driven the short form video trend that has forced a whole marketplace in the United States of social media companies and apps to pivot towards the short form. So it's been an incredible algorithm. And really the secret sauce is that it just has a phenomenal ability to surface content that you or me might be theoretically interested in. And that's really hard to do. It takes a lot of data science. It takes a lot of AI, what we would call neural networks, looking at thousands of signals, matching you to other similar people, similar demographics, and then finding sometimes very quirky or idiosyncratic content that just for some reason will resonate with our brains. You almost might think of it as a kind of mind hack.
In addition to its ability to curate the right content, the TikTok algorithm has a knack for bringing like-minded people together. For example, users who engage with left-leaning political content are much more likely to see only videos from liberal creators rather than conservatives, and vice versa. Ashley Landrum argues that this practice can lead to a phenomenon called an echo chamber. Landrum is an associate professor at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at Arizona State University.
TikTok is known for its For You page, which delivers the highly personalized content based on users' behavior. So what you see is largely influenced by what you're engaging with, your likes, your shares, your comments, or even how long you watch a video for. As a result, there is potential to be exposed to diverse perspectives. The algorithm can also create echo chambers. If someone consistently interacts with content from one political perspective, the app is likely to show them more of the same. And this can lead to a lack of balance of perspectives that users are exposed to. The other thing that this leads to is one of the issues with echo chambers more broadly is the assumption that more people hold a certain perspective than actually do.
Unlike traditional media sources, there's no expectation to show both sides of an argument or topic. The issue to this one-sided view is that more people are turning to social media to get their news. A Pew Research study conducted last year uncovered that 4 in 10 young adults regularly get their news from content creators on TikTok.
There is a general feeling among political experts and pundits that one of the reasons for the large shift in public sentiment closer to Trump, further away from the Democratic Party, has been because of the types of media sources used. They really weren't relying on the standard town halls or debates and media coverage in the way that previous elections had. Instead, you had Donald Trump doing podcasts, talking to influencers. You had individuals creating content on TikTok and really spreading the message in this way that demonstrates that social media really has become the quote mainstream media because that's where most people are getting their content from.
As social media shapes people's perspectives and beliefs, TikTok's impact in particular can't be ignored. If the 14-hour ban proved anything, it's that a permanent shutdown would leave a void for many millions of Americans. While it's impossible to predict what will happen to the app, Landrum has some theories on the ripple effects of various outcomes. If it's banned, it's likely that users will flock to other short-form video platforms like Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. But if it survives, it may look very different, perhaps even unrecognizable.
If TikTok is purchased by a US holder, the question is, does the algorithm go with it? And I think if the algorithm does not go with it, you're likely to see a drop of engagement with TikTok, or we could see a drop of engagement with TikTok, even if the platform continues to exist. It's also possible that people will just stay on because they have these same users, but perhaps it'll be less engaging. Another thing to think about is who those owners are. Whoever comes in to purchase, if TikTok is purchased and given, by US-based organizations, they will have a large amount of say or sway over the way that content is shared. And as we've seen with many of the other platforms, the social media platforms, that some of these debates over how misinformation is dealt with, to what extent fact-checking is prioritized on the site, could also sway how users are engaging with the platforms. So while I'm not sure what's going to happen next for TikTok, those would be the things that I would be keeping an eye on.
As of today, ByteDance still has about 6 weeks to act before the 75-day extension expires, and TikTok is blocked. To find out more about John Wibby, Ashley Landrum, and all our featured guests, visit viewpointsradio.org. This segment was written and produced by Grace Galanti and Amira Zaveri. Our executive producer is Amira Zaveri. Studio production by Jason Dickey. I'm Gary Price.